viewer. Do not forget to join the Patreon to get videos earlier, script access and an exclusive Discord. You will no longer be empty and frantic. Thank you.
The spur to the boot of Italy the Gargano Peninsula has not always been known as a region of Apulia. For longer than it has been settled by humans, it's been an island hosting some of the weirdest creatures we've talked about in this series so far. Due to this isolation, it hosted Island Gigantism, a phenomena which created mega rabbits, five-horned, massive deer, hedgehog dogs or hedgedogs, and much more, only as recently as 12 to 4 million years ago. What happened to this island? Why were its inhabitants so massive? You know what else is massive? All and more will be covered today. Thank you to Goji Berry, Katie and Toby for supporting the channel, I really appreciate it. Let's get on with the video. During the late Miocene to early Pliocene, Gargano was completely cut off from the mainland, becoming an isolated island for an estimated 8 million years due to higher sea levels. On Gargano, an estimated 20 plus endemic species evolved to fill the ecological niches now open for competition. Some of the animals left on this land experienced an evolutionary process called Island Gigantism, with famous examples of this including the giant rabbits of the Balearic Islands, the elephant bird of Madagascar, and the Cuban Giant Owl. Firstly, Microtia is an extinct rodent with 3 known species that evolved about 11 million years ago. It was about 10 centimeters long, making it larger than most mainland rodents. Later species of the genus show increased specializations and size increase, especially in their dental records. The main distinct feature of Microtia are its 24 molars, far more than modern rodents, likely used for a diet of predominantly plants. It would have had many predators on Gargano, including birds of prey, that we will explore later on. Garganornis was a flightless bird of the family Anatidae that features modern geese, ducks and swans, with it being a clear-cut example of insular gigantism. This genus holds just one species and is closely related to the goose, except this animal was about 15 to 22 kilograms in weight and 1.5 meters tall, making it the largest known waterfowl ever. If you thought goose mating season was bad in your country, the horrors inflicted on the island of Gargano are likely indescribable. They duelled for a mate using the bony knob on the end of their wing bones to fight, something many modern waterfowl possess. It almost certainly had no predators once it was fully grown. Garganornis has also been found on the neighbouring island of Scontrone, a place that is not as well studied as Gargano, so we've decided to leave it out of this video. Hoplitomeryx, or the prong deer, was a 5-horned, saber-toothed genus of ruminant, found exclusively on the island of Gargano, with 6 species evolving in the Pliocene and lasting well into the early Pleistocene. This was certainly one of the most diverse and common species on Gargano. Above each orbit of the skull there were 2 horns, and a central horn, giving them a majestic 5-horned crown. They lack antlers much like the American pronghorn, which still have their primitive horns. Considering the antler evolved around 20 million years ago, the prong deer of Gargano are likely a relic population of deer which did not evolve to this change. The subspecies range from 2 meters tall all the way to 50 centimeters tall, meaning they are potential products of both insular dwarfism and insular gigantism, making them representatives for both of Foster's island rules. This huge size variation meant while the larger species could consume high-growing plants, the smaller species could exist without competition. The lack of large mammalian predators in the traditional sense, cough cough Deinogalerix, and the limited niches available led to size becoming a key way to avoid competition on Gargano, making a very unique and diverse species of ruminant on the island. A genus of hedgehog closely related to the subfamily Galericinae would evolve, called Deinogalerix, with around 5 species. Their closest living relatives would have been the gymnure or moon rat, which are basically hairy omnivores that scavenge the forest floor nocturnally. Modern gymnures are restricted to Asia, but are thought to be ancestors to animals such as shrews, which are still widespread in Europe. The most archaic of the Deinogalerix was the species D. massini, which displayed primitive and advanced traits of the species in its jaw and teeth structures. It was half the size of the common hedgehog, a far cry from later members of the family. Later, the largest member of the genus, Deinogalerix coeniswaldi, was far larger with a skull size of 20 centimeters, while the actual length of Deinogalerix massini's body was approximately 35 centimeters, showing the huge contrast in size once again. Its overall size could have been up to 2 feet in length, making it the largest land carnivore on the island. Even though I might refer to it as a hedgehog on steroids, Deinogalerix had a long tail, pointed ears, and most distinctly no quills, making it not very similar to modern hedgehogs. It is still an impressive animal nonetheless. It was likely to some degree a carnivore, with those large incisors definitely coming in handy when finding dead carrion and helping them scavenge. Due to it not being a fast-moving animal, this opportunistic lifestyle would have made it more versatile. This animal is certainly amazing. Within about 8 million years, we saw it turn from a tiny shrew-like mammal into one of the largest land animals on Gargano, making it deserving of the name Deinogalerix. If you were a giant hamster 9 million years ago in eastern Italy, your main fear would not be from an animal on the ground, but from an animal in the sky, a bird of prey. Garganoaetus was likely the top predator of Gargano, with a size similar to that of the golden eagle. It would have preyed upon a range of animals covered in this video: the occasional infant prong deer, a Deinogalerix, and most commonly the giant rodents and hamsters of the island. It was truly a sight to behold, and would likely have been the top predator on the island. A species of barn owl called Tyto gigantea lived on the island, being potentially larger than the Eurasian eagle owl, which comes in at a wingspan of 6 feet and 2 inches. It was around 220% the size of the average barn owl. Another species, the Tyto robusta, was a close relative that was slightly smaller, coexisting and likely going after different sizes of the same prey on the island. It is unknown whether Tyto gigantea evolved alongside or evolved from Tyto robusta. It is debated on whether they are the same species or are distinct, and this is still going on. The plot thickens when you acknowledge other barn owl species on Gargano, including Tyto bellerica. Either way, they are some of the best recent examples of gigantism that you can ask for. Giant barn owls are easier to explain to your kid than a hedgehog moonrat dog thing or a Cuban flightless crane. Both Garganoaetus and the barn owls of Gargano were likely the apex predators, evolving larger sizes to compensate for their larger, less under threat prey. The Tyto owls would patrol the night, while the Garganoaetus would soar in the daylight, preventing competition between the birds. Outside of the main cast of animals in this video, there are some lesser studied animals that deserve a mention. In my previous videos, I've kind of dodged some species on these islands, and maybe I'll revisit some of them in the future in like a montage type video, but in this one I'm going to make sure they're all acknowledged, so here we go. Gargano had its own equivalent of Neurolagus, the largest lagomorph ever. This was the Prolagus imperalis, an animal weighing 5 kilograms. Nothing in comparison to Neurolagus, but still 10 times the size of the average Prolagus species, so still very impressive. You can never beat my Belleric boys though. Also an abnormally large species of otter, Paralutra garganensis, giant hamsters, giant dormice, and apparently crocodile fossils have been found on Gargano, and those all need to be studied more for me to really feature them properly in this video. So, roughly 8 million years ago, the Gargano Peninsula in eastern Italy was an island hosting in its waters crocodiles and otters, on its land flightless giant geese, predatory dog hedgehogs, 5-horned deer with saber-toothed teeth, and in its skies terrifying gargantuan, see what I did there, eagles and giant night owls. As quickly as one of the weirdest lost worlds came along, it disappeared around 5 to 4 million years ago. When a big fish in a small pond like Deinogalerix faces a wolf or a lynx, it stands no chance, and so the island's fauna went extinct. Gargano regressed into Italy in the early Pleistocene, leading to many of the animals of the island being at the mercy of the mainland. For once, a video did not end with me complaining about humans murdering these animals. But while the Gargano and mainland fauna were unable to comprehend the morals of outcompeting isolated, less competitive species, we are. We don't have evidence of humans on Gargano, but we do have the ability to protect and prevent human-induced environmental factors from destroying our isolated island species. If you want to learn more about what happens when we introduce mainland animals to these island ecosystems, I would highly recommend my video on Laysan. It's a very interesting project that sort of went under the rug, especially after my video on the Balearic Islands, but I think it deserves more views and I think you'll enjoy it, so go check it out. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm very happy to see we've reached 4,000 subscribers, and I'd like to thank all of the new Patreons. We've had Goji Berry, Toby, Katie, and now Adam. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. You guys are all amazing. Have a great day.